everyone! Today I'm going to be sharing my July wrap up with you. I read 14 books in the month of July and I participated in the reading rush, which will be my first and final reading rush after everything that's gone on. If you want to know what's happened, just check out the multiple videos that have been made about it. So without further ado, I'll start sharing the books I've read. So the first book I read this month was Trade Deadline by Avon Gale and Piper Vaughan. This is the third book in the Hat Trick series and I got a arc of it, so I read it. It comes out in August 17th. This is a male hockey romance and this is the third book in the series, so I can't say too much because I will spoil the rest of the series, but you can kind of read these books as standalones. Hat Trick is actually my favourite so far in the series, so I gave it 5 stars this month and I really enjoyed it. It was very quick and fun and an easy start to the month, and it also helped me raise my NetGalley ratio. So the next book I finished was Empire of Gold by S.K. Chakraborty. I absolutely adore this series. This is the final book in the Davibad series and oh my god, it is so amazing. I love the main character Nahiri, and this book has so much magic and wonder and rich, deep history that continues to grow throughout the series, which is absolutely amazing. And the best thing about this is that I kept changing my mind about the characters. Usually you kind of like a character or don't like a character and you stay that way. But this series, I just kept changing how I thought of every character because of the more information or how they reacted to certain things. And such an amazing conclusion to this trilogy. I gave this 5 stars. I highly recommend you read it. If you haven't picked up City of Brass, pick it up now. You will not regret it. Yes, they're thick, but honestly you'd be wanting more after you finish it. And surprisingly, my ship changed in this book, which never happens. So yes, read Empire of Gold, you will not regret it. The next book I read was Hands Down by Mariana Zapatel. I was so surprised this book came out. Every year she releases a new book, but as a self-published author you don't really know when the release date is, and she just drops a hint and says there's a big edit and then the book is out. So Hands Down is actually kind of a spin-off of The Wall of Winnipeg, which is amazing. We get to see main character is Zach, and oh man, it was really good. And I loved the main female character. She was such a different type of character than her other main female characters, and it was so sweet. The romance was so swoony and of course very slow burn because Mariana just loves a slow burn romance. It's just perfect. She does an amazing job at it and I can't wait till the next book, obviously. So I gave Hands Down 5 stars. And after reading one of her books, I always end up rereading another one of her books, which led me into reading Culti. I read Culti now 4 times. I absolutely adore it. It's about this very famous soccer player and he comes to be the coach of a women's soccer team, and then we have our main character Sal, who used to love him, and then she realizes that her heroes aren't the same as real life, and their banter and the way that they interact is so good. Once again, very slow burn. Mariana loves a slow burn. If you love slow burn romances, definitely check her out. I gave Culti 5 stars again. Next, I read Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. Oh my god, this was the cutest book. I absolutely loved it. It was about a girl going to a boarding school in Scotland, and then she's roomed with a princess and romance ensures. It was so sweet, and I just love how it wasn't simple, but I love how easy it was to read and it wasn't complicated, and it was just a very sweet read. And I really hope Rachel Hawkins does more in this series because I really enjoyed it. Her Royal Highness got 5 stars. After reading Her Royal Highness, I was really wanting another YA read because I haven't been reading much YA lately, and so I picked up The Warrior of the Wild by Tracy Levenseller. I'm really glad I picked this up. I read A Shadow Between Us last month. Absolutely loved it. I thought that a standalone fantasy with like morally grey characters or just like a one goal is so great to pick up amongst all like your big fantasy series or hard-hitting contemporaries. So this was the perfect read for me this month as it was short, quick, and absolutely an amazing adventure. It was about a warrior, Ransmira, who was set to be the heir to her town, and something happens and she gets kicked out, and she has a trial that she has to complete to go back in town, and her trial is to kill a god. So it seems impossible, but this book is just amazing, and I loved the way the god was explored in this world. Like in this story, the god wasn't too unapproachable, which made for a really interesting and quick read. So I gave Warrior of the Wild 4 stars. Next I read Rebel by Rayleigh Rubens. This is a sequel to Best Friend. This was part of the Red's Tavern series, And I was really excited to read this book because it's a spin-off of the first book, and my favourite character from the last book, Red, this is about his book. I really enjoyed it. This was a Malmo romance and it explored a lot of grief and addiction, and the way it was handled I thought was really well done. Obviously check out some Own Voices reviewers, but I enjoyed it. I gave this 4 stars. After reading some sports romances this month, I wanted to read more, so I ended up reading Power Plays and Straight A's by Eden Finley and Saxon James, and this is Eden Finley's and Saxon James' new series, and it kind of shows characters from Eden's other series, and this is a new hockey university series which I'm really excited for. I love hockey stories, well, hockey romances, and this was quite good. I really enjoyed it. It was very quick, just didn't give me that 4 or 5 star feel, so it was definitely a 3 star, but I'm definitely continuing on with the series. I'm excited to see the other characters. This is also a male romance. Then I read Bet On Me and Calling Your Bluff by Saxon James because I've never read from them before, so I was really interested to see their solo stories, and it was quite good. This was also a sports romance featuring football, American football. I don't know, I just love sports romances for some reason. They always interest me, even though I don't watch sport, but I'm always down for a sports romance. So I gave Bet On Me 3 stars and Calling Your Bluff 4 stars. Then I picked up Fangs by Sarah Anderson. I saw this on Chelsea Doling's Goodreads. She just read it and she really enjoyed it, so I looked on NetGalley and it was available to read now, so I downloaded it and it was the sweetest story. It was a graphic novel about a vampire and a werewolf falling in love, but wasn't shying away from a vampire being a vampire and killing people and a werewolf going to change into a wolf at night. And the way their romance was so just complimentary was adorable, and it was very quick. I actually want to see more from this author, so I gave Fangs 4 stars. Shira and the Legend of the Fire Princess. I really love this, love the Shira show, and I just enjoyed this. Like, it was like an episode in a comic form, so I really hope they continue with the graphic novels. And I'll just show you. As you can see, the style is like in the show. So beautiful graphics, beautiful story. I highly recommend reading this if you are a fan of the show. Next, I read The Brilliant Death by Amy Rose Capita. I have had this book now on my shelf for I think over a year, and for some reason I just haven't picked it up, even though I was really excited when I first got it, which is the case with most book buying. You're really excited, you get it, then it gets put on your shelf for like a year. But I just picked this up on a whim. I was in the mood for YA fantasy again, because after reading a few in the last couple of months, I've fallen back in love with YA fantasy, and this did not disappoint. It was so unique. The magic was our main character Tio. She got to change people into inanimate objects. Like, that's terrifying. And then we get to meet Cello, who can just change their appearance to be anything living. It was so amazing. And then they went on kind of a secret spy mission, but for themselves. And because this is a duology, it was very contained. We got to see character development through this story, and I absolutely loved it. I've already ordered The Storm of Life, and I think it's coming hopefully in a few weeks, so I'll be able to read that. This is definitely a 4.5 star read. It didn't quite get to the 5 star mark. I think because I didn't feel connected to the characters until about 50 pages, even though I was really interested in reading this story. So in saying that, I am very excited for the sequel, and you should put this up if you are looking for a fantasy that explores gender and identity, so just interesting world and interesting magic system. Then I have reread Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. Noelle Stevenson is the creator and executive producer of Shira. So I reread this novel this month. I adored it once again. Definitely 5 stars. This was such a good story. It's about Nimona wanting to be the evil sidekick of Lord Blackheart, and it's really funny because you find that Lord Blackheart seems to be a bit reluctant when Nimona is gun-ho and wants to do everything bad. And she's also a shapeshifter, and that backstory is very interesting. So I highly recommend picking this up if you're interested in a quick fantasy graphic novel, and it's a standalone, which is very good because I love standalones because it's so nice just to have a full complete story. And saying that, you always want like more. I want to know more about Nimona, Lord Blackheart, and Golden Loin. So definitely 5 stars. So those are the books I have completed for July. It was a very good reading month. I have so many 4 and 5 star books and new favorites and new authors that I'm very interested to read more from. I'm currently reading 2 books, but I definitely could sit down and finish one in like one sitting. It is so gripping, and that book is A Song of Wraith and Ruins by Roseanne A. Brown. Oh my god, I am absolutely loving this book. I devoured the first 100 pages in like, it felt like half an hour. It was so quick but so gripping and heart-wrenching. I've seen this book around Bookstagram and Twitter and YouTube, and I had to pick it up because it sounded so unique and interesting, and I do not regret it at all. I'm going to be able to finish this book so soon, but at the same time I want to savor it. I've actually started tabbing it because I'm loving it that much, and the fact that this is a debut novel is outstanding. I can't wait to see what Roseanne does in the future, because if this book is already that good in the first like 140 pages, I don't know what she's going to create next. It's going to be masterpieces. So this book is about a princess and a refugee, and they're both set to destroy each other. They both want to technically kill each other but they don't know they want to kill each other. So I'm really interested to see that dynamic unfold. I'm not there yet, but we're getting close, and I'm so excited. And I definitely think if I read this like all night, I'll be able to finish it by the end of the month. I'm also currently reading The Impossible Contract by K.A. Dorr. I started this during the reading rush and I'm about 160 pages through, but I wanted just a change, and The Wraith and Ruins has been calling to me, so I started that, and unfortunately this has been put on the back burner, but I'm definitely loving it and I will definitely finish it by August. And I've also just started reading Snot Girl Volume 3, Is This Real Life by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. I love the Snot Girl graphic novels. It is so good. Like, Snot Girl, or Lottie Person, is such an unlikable character, but she's also such a compelling character, and in ways that she's unlikable you can also see like relatable traits about her, and it's a beautiful graphic novel, and there's this like mystery element to it that I honestly am still confused about. That's why I keep picking up this series. So I hope to finish this by August. So that's everything I've read this month. I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment what your favorite book of the month was. I would really like to know, because I'm always looking for recommendations. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!